Thank you. Again, guys, good afternoon. Today, inshallah, we'll start with module 9, lesson 1, page 485, volume of rectangular prism. Now, please, guys, leave everything beside you and just focus with me here to understand a few things together before we start this lesson. Now, in the previous chapter, we took area. We took area of parallelogram, triangles, trapezoids, regular polygons, if you remember. And the area, it needs 2 dimensions. These figures have 2 dimensions. Like the rectangle, it has length and width. We call it 2-dimensional figures. For the 2-dimensional figures, I can find the area of its surface by using the formula of each one. We took formulas for each one to find the area. Now, if you remember, the unit of the area was something like meter squared, like this. Why we put 2 here? We said because it has 2 dimensions, length, width, base, height, whatever. Now here we will find the volume, and we will find the volume of rectangular prism. What is the rectangular prism? It's kind of like the room. You are inside in it right now. Now let's remember, what is the prism? What is the pyramid? Come here with me. Now, the prisms and the pyramids, like the boxes, for example, this one, we call it rectangular prism. We call it rectangular prism, okay? Like the box or the room, you are inside it now. Okay, now the rectangular prism has 6 faces. The rectangular prism has 6 faces. The roof, the floor, and 4 faces around. It is box, you can put inside it things. What we call this? We call it rectangular prism, but we have pyramids. So the solid figures, we call this solid figure. We have 2 types of them. We have prisms and we have pyramids. And if you have friends from Egypt here, they know what the meaning of pyramid very well. They have 3 big pyramids in Al-Giza, I think. Al-Giza city. So we have prism and pyramid. What's the prism? Prism, something like this. 2 bases, base. And when I say base here, guys, I'm not talking about this line, like base and height, base and height. No, when I say base here, I'm talking about the face on the floor down. This face here, we call it base. And this face, the roof, we call it base. So we have 2 bases. In the prisms, we have 2 bases, okay? But in the pyramids, we have something like this. If you visit Egypt before, you know, or you will see something like this, pyramids. It has only 1 base down, 1 base, and they all meet at 1 point up. And the sides around are all triangles. So this we call it pyramids, but this we call it prisms. So when we call it a prism, the solid figure, when we have 2 bases, but if we have 1 base only, we call it pyramid. Here we have 2 bases and all the sides around, they are rectangles. Here we have 1 base and all the sides around, we have triangles. This case, we call it pyramid. This one, we call it prism. Today, we are finding the volume of this prism. Now, to find the volume of the rectangular prism, focus with me here, please. Now, I wanna just take a look to this room here. I'm inside the room now, like you. Now, this room has 3 dimensions, guys. It has length, and it has width. And the new thing, we have the height of the room. So we have 3 dimensions, length, width, and height together. If the solid figure, or if a figure has length, width, and height, then it has volume. What is the volume? The volume is how much is the space inside this room. How much the space means if I close everything and I want to put water inside it, how much water I can put inside. So the rectangular prism is a box like the room, closed, and we call it rectangular prism. What is the volume? The volume is how much the space inside this room or the rectangular prism. We have another concept for the volume. We call it capacity. Capacity, it has similar idea, capacity. Capacity, it's volume. So we'll talk about volume here. Now, volume, to find it, we need formula. But today we are talking about only the volume of rectangular prism. So I will graph rectangular prism here. And the rectangular prism has 3 dimensions. And how many faces it has? It has 6 faces. It has 6 faces. 6 faces. Like this room here, guys, it has 6 faces. We have the roof face, we have the floor face, and we have 4 faces around. So we have 6 faces. Now, any rectangular prism has down this line, we call it length, length, L. This line, we call it width, W. And this line here, we call it height, height, H. So any rectangular prism has length, width, and height. Why this height? No, this is not the only height. This is the height, this is the height, this is the height, and this here inside, this line here, it is a height. Like this room, it has this one height, and that one there height, and that one here height, and this one here height. But how many lengths we have? We have this one is length, and the opposite one also length. This one is width, and the opposite one also width. Like the rectangle, remember? When we say this is length and this is length. If this 5, this 5. This is width and this is width. If this W, this W. Now I want to ask something. Can we put water inside this figure, inside the rectangle? No. It has no space. It has face. But no space to put, it will be cupped out. So this we call it two-dimensional figures. We can find area, we can find perimeter. We cannot find volume. It has no volume. It has no space inside. No space, I mean, it has no ability to put things inside it. But this one, it has, I can open a door here and put things inside it and close it. So it has a space. If the figure has a space, we can find volume of it. But how we will find the volume of the rectangular prism? We have formula. Volume of the rectangular prism equal. Before finding the volume, I want to tell you how to find the volume in general for any prism. To find the volume for any prism, and focus here, please, guys. To find the volume for any prism, V volume equal big B, H, not BH. We know this, base by height, area, remember? No, big BH. What is the big B here? The big B is the base area. What's the H? It's the height. So, to find the volume of any prism, what you will do, you will go to the base, the floor, the base, find its area, then multiply by the height of the prism. Let's go back to my rectangular prism. What's its base? Its base is a rectangle, see it? What's the area of the rectangle? It is length by width. Length by width. Big B, remember there? Big B. Multiply the height, H. So this is the formula of how to find the volume of a rectangular prism with length, width, and height. Multiply the length by the width by the height. This down here is the area of the rectangle down. We know the area of the rectangle. This is the height. For example, if your father tells you that we need to know the volume of this room to fill it water, what you will do? You will measure the length, you will measure the width, you will measure the height, then you multiply the three numbers together. The answer will be the volume of this room. This is the idea of how to find the volume of the rectangular prism. Let's take example. Let's take example. For example, if I have, look here guys, example, a rectangular prism with length, let's say 6 meters, width, let's say 4 meters, and height, let's say 10 meters. Find its volume. Find its volume. Now, rectangular prism, I know the volume of the rectangular prism. V equal length by width by height. Just write the formula. V equal length multiply width multiply height. The length is given, the width is given, the height is given, just apply. This is equal, the length is 6, multiply the width is 4, multiply the height is 10, 240. 240 what? The unit is meter. Meter power 3. In the area, we said meter power 2, and we call it square meters, remember? Or square unit, whatever. But here, what we will call this? Cubic meter. Cubic meter. So cubic means the unit is power 3. If the unit is power 3, I'm talking about volume. Why here power 2 and here power 3? In the volume, we have 3 dimensions. So we put power 3. In the square, in the area, we have 2 dimensions. If you remember, base height, right? Half base height, length width, half base 1 plus base 2 height. By the way, this alone, this one is 1 dimension, and the other is 2 dimensions. So if you have 2 dimensions, you are talking about area square units. 3 dimensions, you are talking about volume cubic units. This is the idea of this lesson, how to find the volume of the rectangular prism. Let's see example 1. Example 1. Before starting example 1, if you have any questions, just put your hand. Yeah, read. Hello, Mr. Iyad. طيب.
Yes, Mr. Hi.
ينال.
Hello, Mr.
يلا يا ابني read. Which page أول؟ Which page حبيبي? Which page؟ هلا؟
487.
يلا. 487. Read the example. Example 1. Read.
Many sugar cubes measure 1/4 inch on each side. The box shown is packed full of sugar cubes. What is the volume?
You know the juice box. عصير هذا العصير بكيت العصير. Yes. You know it, right?
Yes.
يلا. What they want from us to find the
box
what is
volume.
the volume, right?
Yes.
What they want us to find the volume of the box. Now, can you tell me what are the dimensions of this box? What we have here?
We have 6 inch. The height.
What we call this 6 inch? What we call it?
The height.
The height. 3.5. What we call it? Down.
3.5. The length.
And the 1.5, what we call it?
The width.
The width. So we have width, length, and height, right?
Yes.
Can we find the volume now?
Yes, we will multiply.
Yeah. So what is the volume of this rectangular prism? What's the formula?
Mister, I don't know.
You don't know. This is the formula. Length by width by height. What's the formula?
Length multiply width multiply height.
Length multiply width multiply height. This is my L, by the way.
Yes.
So this is equal. What's the length?
6.
No. The length is not 6. Is this line here, Yabni, the length? Is this length?
No.
What's this?
3.5.
What's the length يا حبيبي؟ وركز الله يساعدك ركز. What's the length?
3.5.
اها سهل يعني الموضوع ما بده هالشيء. Multiply. What's the width?
1.5.
What's the height?
6.
Is this difficult?
No.
Multiply this number. It will be 31.5. What's the unit?
What's the unit? Inch.
Inches?
Yes.
Power?
Wait. Power 2.
No. يا ابني انت كنت معنا من قبل شوي ولا لا؟ بس سؤال. كنت معنا هون واحنا بنحكي ولا لا؟
معكم.
حكينا الفوليوم باور 3. Area باور 2. Is this clear?
Yes.
Yeah. What's the unit here? Inch to the power 3. What we call it? Cubic inches. Cubic inches. Inch power 3. Get it?
Got it.
That's it. Thank you, Ebony. This is example 1, page 487. Now, if you take a look to your book, guys, if you take a look here, they make a lot of calculations and here calculations. And if you see the last answer here, what they wrote, I don't know if it's clear, 31 and 1 over 2, right? Which is 31.5. Just apply the formula, we get the answer. Just apply the formula. This is example 1, page 487. Let's do the check under example 1. Rakan.
Yeah, mister.
Read.
Find the volume of the prism.
Good. We have this prism here, guys. See it? What's the length? Yeah. What are the dimensions? Yeah, Rakan.
The length and the width and the
height. What's the length? How much is the length?
5.5.
How much is the width?
3 inches.
How much is the height?
15.1 inch.
Yeah. How we find the volume now?
Let's multiply width multiply height.
We start with the formula. The volume equals length by width
5.5
by height. The length is how much? 5.5. The width
15.1.
Again, the length 5.5. The width
3. The width 3.
3. The height
15.1.
15.1. Now let's multiply these three numbers here together. The answer will be 249.15.
249.15.
Exactly, 249.15. 15 what? What's the unit?
Inch, 15 inch to the power 3 cubic inches.
بس لا, you can say cubic inches or inch power 3 is enough. يعني one of them, not two. You can say inch power 3 or not and cubic inches. Enough one of them, okay?
Okay.
So 249.15 cubic inches. This is the check page 487. Copy it. Any questions, guys? If you have any questions, keep your hand. If you don't, remove your hand, please. If you have, keep your hand. If you don't, remove your hand. Iyad.
Mister, I have a question about the exam.
What? What is it?
Now he said find the area of the.
Say, no, wait, Yabni, wait. Don't say the question, please. Okay? Because we have another model at 4 p.m. So we cannot talk about exam now. You can ask me tomorrow. Okay? Thank you. Mr. Rakan, no. Mr. Isam.
No, Mr. Thank you. I forgot to remove my hand.
أنت دائما forget. صح? Else, guys, any questions about these ideas here? How to find the volume of the rectangular prism? Easy formula there. Length, width, height.
Mr. To make the homework?
No, don't. We didn't finish the lesson. Okay, that's all for today, guys. Yes, Mr. Ibrahim and Nidal, yes.
Mr.
Naam.
Mr. Can we write only the questions of the today we learn it?
No, just study in your exam.
Okay.
Yes, Nidal.
Mister, we have to use the capital B H or L by W by H.
What?
The V equals L by W by H and V equals capital B H. Which one we have to use?
No difference.
Okay.
No difference.
Okay.
Okay?
Yes.
Else, guys? Else? Okay. That's all for today, guys. We'll stop in this check. We did it. Tomorrow we'll start in example 2 and finish the lesson. So thank you so much. Tomorrow again. Goodbye.
Goodbye.